lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé.
As is killed, so to say. So he's neither here nor there, right? His latest rant is that of the reaction to the genocide, the Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, as it is currently being globally discussed. And from the blues, Asari turned on the camera and he went for Reverend Dachomo. That same Reverend Father, that same man who's a member of his own church have been killed by this same Fulani terrorist, right? Not just that, members of his own family, yes, his own family members have also been killed. Now, he is not just the face that is demanding for justice for them, and at the same time, protection for the survivors, okay? So he is also a victim. But Asari, who is Asari? Asari is a guy who turned to Islam for political leverage, and it gave himself Mujahidi. Now, Mujahideen are mostly the, Mujahideen, Asari Dokudump. And since then, it seems like he has managed to, fix himself into this conversation of the Fulani terrorist, the Boko Haram terrorist killing Nigerians and killing Christians. So that's what we're going to start from this evening. And according to Asari, Como is a fraudster, the Como is a liar, and the Como will be disgraced. Meanwhile, these are the talking points of the terrorist sympathizers from the Sharia North. I have seen a lot of them on social media. So where did Asari get his own rage from? And why is he so mad that somebody is clearly advocating for an end to the killings of Nigerians, in which Christians, he is a Christian, members of his own church have been killed, members of his own community have been killed, members of his own family have been killed. So what is wrong with those who believe that, the Christians are being killed, and if the Muslims are being killed as well, the right thing is for those who are Muslims and even those who are not Muslims or Christians to stand up for those who are being killed? Why single him out for this particular hatred and target? Dachomo himself told us that he's received several threats, especially from those who are the sympathizers of the terrorist. Some said he's getting so much attention and popularity that they consider that his advocacy is funded by those who are giving him attention. A lot have sent death threats to him, and this is the man, Reverend Dachomo, right? You know him. So what exactly would be the Asari Dokubon's rage or anger? Well, maybe you will understand them. Let's start with this, ladies and gentlemen.
Dachomo, if I place cost on you, you will not last 24 hours. Well, good afternoon, depending on where you're listening to me. The pronouncement of mad Donald Trump, the lunatic United States of America, had triggered more hate in Nigeria than had solved the problem. I listen to many people. Sometimes I get angry because when people are deliberately lying, they're lying. And they claim that they are men of God. And I think maybe they are playing with God. They are just playing with God. Thou shalt not take the name of thy Lord thy God in vain. They are using the name of God in vain. One of such character is this fellow they call Dachomo. You are not the only person that can talk rubbish. Evangelist or Pastor Dachomo or Ezekiel Dachomo. That guy is a pathetic and pathological liar. A liar from the pit of hell. Over the years, there have been rivalry in the north, except people who don't study history. There have been conflict in the north. Tribal conflict along tribal lines, and this had metamorphosed into religious conflicts. And so when they talk about Christian genocide and they bring Tinubu inside that Christian genocide, I look at it and I ask myself, are these people well? I am not Tinubu's lawyer. I am not Tinubu's advocate. But when you look at Tinubu now, do you think Tinubu will have anything to do with religious crisis? His wife is a Christian. His son, Charade, that is everywhere, is not a Muslim, which everybody knows. Tinubu himself knows. Charade is not a Muslim. His wife is not a Muslim. His daughter, Mrs. Ojo, even though she's a Muslim, she's married to a Christian. Why can't we tell ourselves just the raw truth? And people are afraid to talk. I saw that stupid, idiotic Igbo man who had been talking on channel. They bring him to shoot out hate, raw hate. He's not talking about the killings going on in Igbo land. Many Igbo towns and villages have been reduced to rubble. Desolate, they cannot go home. That is the truth of the matter. These liars are everywhere on television station talking rubbish. You are talking. Where have you been attacked? We know it. We have first-hand information about what is happening. And the government know these things. The government know these things. So if Birom and Hausa people are fighting, Birom and Hausa people are fighting in the north. If Birom and Hausa people are fighting in the north, how does that translate? How does that translate to Christian-Muslim genocide? Do we not know how the Gom Jos was appointed? We don't know how the Gom Jos was appointed. Was he appointed because Birom hold Jos? What of the Jarawas, who are almost majority Muslims? Is it not Sadwana Sokoto, a Sokoto man, a Fulani, a Muslim, that appointed his private secretary as the first Gom Jos? When there was agitation for Emir of Jos. People don't read this, so they don't know anything. They come to lie.
Nuisance lele. Nuisance lele.
I mean, come to think of it, that you have inter-tribal ethnic clashes, and the Fulani terrorists that are displacing people, killing people in their villages, kidnapping many of them, that are so obvious, in your national dailies. How does the ethnic clashes between two communities, two or more communities, can then be related to the organized, what I believe is genocide, ethnic cleansing being perpetuated in two fronts, religious and resources. Those who are pushing their religious agenda, they have killed people, they've targeted churches, they've killed communities like that, is on record. The Fulani terrorists who are currently displacing people from their communities all over, thousands of communities have been displaced by these terrorists, and only them. This is no longer about two communities fighting themselves. This is not like, oh, they are turning it into Muslim killing Christians. No. Nobody is saying that Muslims are killing Christians. This Olori Bruku should remember. I know they have been working so well to kind of twist it, and it's deliberate. Clearly, no one is saying that Muslims are killing Christians. No one is saying there are no, pockets of community clashes. But the real thing happening here that got some of these jihadists and their closest sympathizers a little bit triggered and enraged is the fact that Donald Trump and America have managed, with evidence that all of you actually should know, and they have managed to establish that there are those who are using religion in the name of Allah, cutting people's heads off, shooting armless people and shouting Allahu Akbar. We have evidence of that. Now, what is more kind of like should be important, I have said this before, is that the fact that these terrorists at the same time are also killing those who are supposedly Muslims should validate your own conviction that whether they call them Christian genocide, whether they call it Nigerian genocide, these terrorists, they exist and they shouldn't exist. You understand? Like, they shouldn't exist because they are not only danger to those who are not Muslims, they are even more danger to those who are Muslims too. So in that sense, nobody should begin to twist it. Oh, they want to cause problem in Nigeria. They want Muslims and Christians to be fighting. Why should Muslims and Christians be fighting? That the terrorists who are displacing people should be dealt with. Shouldn't that be like a consensus? But the way they usually do their thing is that they will begin to deflect, like Asari Dokubo was doing. He was practically reacting to people's, posts on social media. And surprisingly, I don't know, Asari Dokubo got to a stage where he has now become kind of like obsessed to everything Igbo. And mind you, his obsession, which has now transformed to hatred, a public one that he's not ashamed of saying anyway, right? Was the same Asari Dokubo that told everybody that Biafra was the answer to Nigeria, and he was proud Biafran. The video is online. That's why I said, is he mad again, right? So the same Asari Dokubo, talking about the killings on the plateau, the killings in the Middle Belt or the North Central, and these people who are like standing on the business that the killings are sponsored by these certain people. And this is what they are doing. This is what they stand for. So how does that concern the Igbos and the killings in Igbo land? Guess what? This same overfed buffoon, right? Alhaji Asari Dokubo, once bragged, right, how he killed many young Igbos in Imo State, in Ebonyi State. He bragged about these things in Enugu State. He said he worked with Oplesus Odijo. He worked with some of these guys in the East, and all these boys who are bragging on social media, go and ask. We killed so many of them. Because what they have been doing in the eastern part of Nigeria is like a coordinated, federal government, kind of like a coordinated terrorism, politically sponsored terrorism in the eastern part of Nigeria. So if by any means you think you can actually indict the Igbos for that, That's part of the narrative they are pushing. The daftness that some of them have managed to push into the medulla oblongata of some, the buffoons that are actually listening to them, right? If the government is real, somebody like Asari Dokudump and those is, moving around committing some of these crimes under the cover of working with a state government or a federal government, they will either actually be in jail because in the process of government really doing its job, they would have realized that the insecurity in the eastern part of Nigeria is multifaceted. And all these stakeholders who politically fueled this are still not convinced that what they have done in the eastern part of Nigeria is not dominating the national conversation so that they could have something to practically distract us in a way by gaslighting the Igbos. Do you get what I mean by that? People are being killed and kidnapped every day up to this moment. It has nothing to do with whether Tinubu married a pastor or he married a Mamalawo or his children are all like herbalists. It doesn't matter. The job of government is that when people commit crimes, whether they committed it in the name of religion or they committed in the name of any god they serve, when that same action violates the constitution of the land, you, whether you are a Muslim president or a Christian or an atheist or somebody who is God knows, right? As long as you have laws and you followed it, right, it doesn't matter whether na Mamalawo or Babalawo you married. Because if you shout Allahu Akbar and you shot people at close range, execute them, you shout Allahu Akbar and you slaughter people, then what will happen is that the law takes its course and that Allahu Akbar will be shouted when your life is taken. That's what is called law. So whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, that's how you should see it. Anybody who is now shielding them, excusing them and all of that, they are called enablers. They are called enablers, the closet terrorists. No deflection. But his obsession with the Igbos in this sense, which in my own opinion, was the foundation of his rant. It was not to really talk about the killings. He didn't care about the killings. He said it will cause Dachomo. That's the part. Listen to this one.
Dachomo, if I place curse on you, you will not last 24 hours. Wallahi billahi biiznillah, you will not last 24 hours. If I, Mujahid Dokubo, I place a curse on you, as you have been placing curse on people, 24 hours you will not last. Because you are a fake and you are a liar. There's hardly any crisis in the north that is rooted in religion. So the Hausa people, farmers that are being killed in Sokoto and in Kebbi by the so-called bandits or whatever they are called, why are
nuisance lele.
Madman. The Hausa people, not that he cared about the Hausa people being killed or not. He just wanted to try and make it play down. That this man that is placing curse is not placing curse on Asari. He's placing curses on the killers and their protectors. That the wrath of God should come on them. He was there doing it in the public, not like anything closed. So why is Asari triggered that he's saying all the Hausa people being killed? And it's not because he cared about the Hausa people. No, he doesn't care. Because to them, if you begin to actually really care, maybe being care means that you have to begin to identify their killers. There is no killings in northern Nigeria that has to do with religion. You know, they say now, Ogungo puts a bottle, broken bottle, deflate Asari Dokudump's belly. Deborah, you remember that young lady that was, burned to ashes? She was mobbed and killed by this Islamic, terrorists. She was mobbed and killed, right? We've had communities where, especially in southern Kaduna, where hundreds, if not thousands of them have become so displaced that they have now appointed emirates like that, Amir, in some of these communities, codedly. They barred the media from going to these communities that have become so desolated and like empty. All of these are public. They are not things people are making up. The whole information is out there. But unfortunately, right, people like Asari Dokudumb, they are in very, very sizable large number. And that makes it very much scary. So like I said, the foundation of most of his rage on social media, 80 to 90% of Asari Dokudumb's rage on social media is because of the Igbos. And his reaction is coming from the reactions of the social media users. So, and the moment he felt that way, he would turn on the camera. And they actually triggered him during this madness. And he had to display more to show to everybody that he's not hungry. Because you know people now, people are there like, you are hungry. It's because you are now broke. Tinubu doesn't look at your side anymore. The blah, the blah, the blah. So he's now showing it to them that he's a rich man. He's a wealthy, this and that, until they had to bring a chair for him for walking for just about 10 yards. Asari Dokudumb. Here.
George, I will come to you. Make I teach these uncultured Philistines how to behave. This is my house in the village. You see, I'm now inside that they work out. So this is my kitchen. If they see my kitchen, Nama Chobri, Fiam na bibi Falaman. Okay, I got you. You see my swimming pool? You see how big my swimming pool is? This is the vendor. Open them. Make them see. The one where she passed, the one where she on of Abuja. Oh. Open. This is my Rolls Royce. Baba Yamakrio. You don't see him? This is not the sauce. You don't see him? See him? You know you see him? Open now, make them see him. And they see him? This will not be upgrade though. One of one. You don't see this one? Not be upgrade with this one. This is not be upgrade though. You don't see him? Brabus 800. How many billionaires get them for Nigeria? You want to see? Is it generator them? Is it motor them? Is it compound? You never start. Make I enter my guest house, go show you. You go see I'm well. All this dirty Igbo. Now when she open. What is they doing? Now here they sleep? No, sir. Will you get out of here? You see, we are looking for you and they are here. You see, this is not the guest apartment. Not be where they stay. Yes, sir. C'est beaucoup merci.
Beaucoup merci, pas voilà. Bien aimé. Mon ami Kanu. Ami avec
Tu connais quand? This is my guest apartment. I never enter around. You don't. Hey! You stay, and you start to talk. You start to insult people. You start to insult people. You understand? You understand? All this are my compound. All this. Yes, I don't see this kind of architectural design before. For village. Nowadays. When I go build those cheap houses. And I go say Odogu. This is just one. This is marble floor. You see, see the marble place where we dey perform ablution. Make I enter the mosque, make you see. This is my mosque. Private mosque in my house, in my village. See, my security house. Now 3 floors. Okrumets. Kanyama Janji. Yes, sir. On that throne. Is it a mosque? See, if you build this kind of church for your house, for your place, we can climb up. So when you, maybe when you go about abusing people,
Of like somebody with a small mind, you know. All of you who goes about insulting people, you should stop. Oh, you are messing with a lot of people's mental health. And if I have somebody that I can use as a specimen when we are researching how impactful the social media, what do you call it, brain rot actually works, I can use Asari as a very good example. Asari kind of like spends a lot of time on social media like a lot of people. And most of the time, he grew his own obsession. And he never used to be like that. I mean, he used to be a pro-Biafran, by the way, until he got a deal with the Bokwari's government, a deal that birthed all of that. Asari is very rich in you. He is showing you his properties in the village, and quite substantial. I mean, so substantial. You will say, Abi, but it is called wealth without enterprise. Asari has a private school in Benin Republic. Yeah, I think, is it Benin Republic in Cotonou? Private university. And all of this came from the proceed of his relationship with the Nigeria supposed government. So you get, not because Asari inherited wealth from his father. No. All of that stuff you see around everywhere he's got them, they are like his own way of investing his own proceed, his own cut from the largest of Nigeria. And that is why he is buyable. But his obsession with the Igbos, I don't know if it is real. Sure you get. Because Asari Dokubo was supposed to be a king, by the way. He's a king as well. Yeah, he's a king. But every now and then, right, he's out there, amplifying different kind of a toxicity. And he goes as far as openly threatening people, or even brag about, what he could do. In one of his recent rants, from where he was talking about Dachomo, right? He also said this about Nnamdi Kanu.
Betrayed Nnamdi Kanu because he was my friend. At the time Nnamdi Kanu was arrested, he was my enemy. I was looking for him to kill him. He was also looking for me to kill him. So I promised him that I would smoke him out. So how did I betray him? He don't even know the meaning of betrayal, sir. Months before he was caught, I told him I would smoke him out anywhere he is. Go and check my previous videos. So it's not a new thing. How will I betray my enemy? I've even held myself back for not talking about him any longer. So don't allow me to go back and start talking about him and spoil matter for him. Keep your lane. Day your day, make a day my day. I beg you.
Nuisance lele.
Sorry. So, I would have shown you one or two of his videos when he was a proud Biafran, and indeed the friend of Nnamdi Kanu. Well, that didn't really last until when, he met with Nnamdi Kanu's delegation, which somehow we believe that Maazi himself attended, but others said no, he didn't attend that meeting, right? So he was still pretty much in touch until Nnamdi Kanu's abduction, which was like a year after that. So yeah, he brags about how he smoked him out and all that nonsense, right? And he himself, he's got the same noose around his neck. The same people, when they are done, there's a way they actually deal with people like him. Especially when they have used him for some of their dirty runs and all that. But the point here is this: the killings in Nigeria, that is so real that they are not really denying. They just want the context to be sort of like be different, so as to, in a way, be protecting these supposed terrorists, when everyone was supposed to actually, every hand was supposed to be on the deck. Everyone should be on deck, right? Smoking these terrorists out. In Niger State yesterday, there was a military chopper that just crashed. And I'm not saying chopper, not chopper. It's actually a fighter jet. A fighter jet that then crashed in one village in Niger State. But the pilots were able to, what do you call that thing again? When you have to use your parachute and you just exited the aircraft before it crashes, right? That happened yesterday, and it's not really in the news that much because a lot happened yesterday. Yeah, there was an asset lost yesterday. A lot of people are asking questions: how did the fighter jet develop fault mid-year and then crashed? Ejection. God bless you. Yeah, it's called ejection. You eject yourself like before the aircraft crashes, right? So a lot of people are now asking, how did this happen? I'm sorry, because if I play the video too long, right, it's going to get our broadcaster flagged again, okay? But yeah, that's just the fire. And then, the particles, the all broken parts flung everywhere. What happened? How did a fighter jet just crash? But people are not asking questions. Asking questions. They have been so distracted with so much, right? That all of this, they are happening. Some are saying that they probably got shut down. But Nigerian military, of course, maybe for security reasons, they will say, oh, it was. But how do you then deal with it if indeed it was actually shut down? Sure, you get me now? So how do you deal with that? This will be the second time that a Nigerian fighter jet, the last time they admitted that, it was shut down. In case if you don't understand, there was this ammunition. I don't know the name, but I will describe it so that those of you who have military background can help us, okay? There was this ammunition, right? It's like that RPG, but RPG is like something they would do like this. But this one is bigger than RPG. They put it on the ground like that. They will coordinate and do some settings and all of that. Then they will shoot it. It's like that rocket as well. They stole 2 from the Nigeria's armory in Kaduna. I can't remember the year, but if you Google it, you get to know what I'm talking about. Do you know what happened? Boko Haram's government, because they said the fact that they have actually shot down one fighter jet in that same Niger state in Nigeria. And that simply means that these criminals, these were supposed to be Fulani terrorists too, not Boko Haram. They are not Boko Haram, they are like Fulani terrorists too. This was way back in I think it was like a 2021, 2022. No, sorry, 2021, 2020, 2021. It should be around that time. They shot it down, bang. And because that's a bigger threat, what did they do? Nigeria bought the second one back from them. It's got a name. I can't remember the name. $5 million was paid by the Nigerian government or military or whatever to buy back that weapon from the same terrorists in order to protect Boko Haram, because they said the airspace that is always going to fly to Daura, somehow, I don't know, yeah, they said that poses the danger that any passenger, civilian aircraft or anything could be brought down. So they had to go and buy it back. The story is in the public. The way I put it right now, some of you will be like, where was that? Don't do that. Just go on and check it. I am not saying that this one that happened yesterday was brought down by terrorists, because there is no information around that, but there are speculations. There are speculations that the aircraft can just like crash like that if it's not shut down. But maybe we'll never know. Yeah? Nigeria, who somehow have suddenly lost its will, is power, the power to, own the air in the sub-region of where Nigeria is, right? It is only Nigerian military, right? Or Nigerian military that possesses the enough here, sort of like flight and all of that, that could actually take control of the airspace of any country in the West Africa. Like we have that air superiority. Unfortunately, we couldn't use that to go after the terrorists too. You know what I mean? Like when the Air Force is going ahead, locating the terrorists and then, like bombing them, while the other military ground troop will be clearing them, right? No, but Nigeria is doing that in Benin Republic right now. Because that's the latest report. Earlier this morning, there was a report that, a coup, in fact, there was an announced coup by a group of soldiers in Benin Republic announcing that they've taken over government. They've removed Patrice Talon as the president of Benin Republic. Okay, that was shocking. Because right now, almost all the countries surrounding Nigeria is being ruled by dictators. I'm sorry, by the military coupist. So, Benin Republic falling into the hands of a coupist. Nigeria wanted to play the big brother role on the order of France again. So, what happened? This morning, these soldiers, right? You may not understand French, okay? But don't worry. You practically know what they are saying anyway. So they made this announcement. A series of events that followed, right, has currently put the country in more or less like, dark zone where information right now is so, sort of like strict, as we are receiving, confusing or conflicting info. But the first one earlier this morning was this announcement by a soldier called Pascal Tigri.
L'ignorance et la négligence de la situation de nos frères d'âmes tombés au front et surtout celle de leurs familles abandonnées à leur trésor par la politique de M. Patrice Talon, malgré les multiples promesses relayées en grande pompe sur les médias. La promotion à des grades supérieurs de certains militaires au détriment des plus méritants. La mise à la retraite d'office de nombreux militaires et paramilitaires encore valides sur fond de règlement de comptes et de haine. Sur le plan social, la radiation tous azimuts de fonctionnaires de l'État, détruisant ainsi les familles entières. L'annulation de la prise en charge par l'État des dialysés, entraînant des morts en cascade. Le dénigrement du corps enseignant à travers la création de la catégorie des AME, terme qui traduit une marginalisation, voire une clochardisation des personnes pourtant très engagées à servir leur pays. La mauvaise gestion du secteur agricole. La réduction, voire l'annulation déguisée des libertés fondamentales sur le plan économique. La confiscation de tous les secteurs vitaux de l'économie nationale par une minorité. L'instauration des impôts étouffants, ainsi les populations déjà pauvres. La confiscation des prêts sur le dos de l'État dans une opacité totale.
Total. Just because for time, as well as the language barrier, which means we still have to interpret. In a nutshell, they announced that they were putting an end to the government of Patrice Talon and also to democracy. And right now, they've suspended the constitution. And not just that, they shut down the land, all the border, the land, the sea, and the air. And immediately, the Beninoans, the Benin people, they reacted. And their first reaction was like that of supportive, because it was last year or 2 years ago, Patrice Talon, who is doing a second term of 10 years as the president of the country, suddenly changed the constitution. Although he said the new constitution forbids him from running. You understand? However, they probably just don't believe him. So they changed the constitution to extend the duration of the term of office from 5 years to 7 years. And I think they also removed term limits, meaning you could be president, you can contest again and again and again, something that did not really go down well. But with the backing of France, it seemed that the people like Nigeria, right? The people are like powerless. There's nothing they could do. So as you are expecting the rest of the world to pay attention to Nigeria, sanction your own criminal leaders, there are many other African countries begging the same. In Nigeria, it seems, Nigerians are begging America. Not some Nigerians are begging America. Donald Trump. Others are calling on the UK. UK colonized Nigeria. What is UK doing about all of this? What is UK saying? This and that. Similarly, other people are saying the same thing. Like, what kind of democracy are we practicing? What is France saying? What is France doing? No, France won't do anything. They are in bed with all these people. It's like we have nothing to do. We have nothing by any means to actually fight back. So the military jumped in, and that seemed to have been welcomed. But that is not the whole story. All right? I'll let the soldiers finish and show you the reactions that followed and others that followed as well. Watch this.
Suspendu jusqu'à nouvel ordre. Les frontières terrestres, maritimes, aériennes du Benin sont fermées jusqu'à nouvel ordre. La prise du pouvoir en ce moment traduit la ferme volonté du comité militaire de la refondation à mettre fin à l'exclusion de toutes les couches sociales de notre pays, sans distinction aucune. À la suite de la transition et de restaurer la cohésion nationale. L'armée nationale exercera jusqu'à nouvel ordre la plénitude des pouvoirs dévolus à l'État du Bénin. Tous les fonctionnaires du Bénin, tous les travailleurs de nos villes et campagnes, où qu'ils se trouvent, doivent continuer d'assurer normalement leurs tâches quotidiennes avec plus de foi et de discipline.
Abat alors. Ce soir vous soutenez. Nous allons marcher ce soir pour vous soutenir. Abat alors. Ce soir. Victoire au peuple. Ce soir. Victoire au peuple. Victoire au peuple. Victoire au peuple. Victoire au peuple.
Vous avez entendu? Talon c'est terminé. C'est la fête à Charade. Oui, c'est la fête à Charade. Tout le monde en fête, hein? C'est la fête à Charade. Talon est parti. Regardez, vous voyez, tout le monde. C'est la fête, c'est la fête, c'est la fête à Charade. C'est ça.
Oui. Suspendu jusqu'à nouvel ordre. Les frontières terrestres, maritimes, aériennes du Bénin sont fermées jusqu'à nouvel ordre.
So, like I said, the reaction that followed was that of, it was spontaneous, and it was more or less like, as much as it was shocking. So, immediately, not long after that, yeah, the interior minister addressed the country. So what initially happened was that these soldiers, they, took over a TV station rather, and that was where they broadcasted, that their coup. And the guy who was supposed to be the leader, this is the guy who was supposed to be the leader. Okay. After making that announcement, what they did was, from what we gathered, right, was that they attacked or allegedly attacked the supposed convoy of Mr. Talon. But in the midst of all of that, I think they missed him. A coup is not a coup until you have the head of that government in custody. If they plan any coup in Nigeria, for instance, there are key people that are meant to be arrested And in a coup, they will say if they resist arrest, they were to be shot and killed. In a coup. Sure you get. But the coupists didn't get Talon. So what happened? The Minister of Interior grabbed at the moment and he addressed the country by saying, this is Talon, by the way, the president of Benin Republic.
Béninois, chers compatriotes, au petit matin de ce dimanche.
Hang on, I don't want to mix it up for you, okay? The picture on the screen is Talon. The man speaking is the Minister of Interior, the first person to address this when the news broke.
Béninois, chers compatriotes, au petit matin de ce dimanche 7 décembre 2025, un groupuscule de soldats a engagé une mutinerie dans le but de déstabiliser l'État et ses institutions. Face à cette situation, les forces armées béninoises et leur hiérarchie, fidèles à leur serment, sont restées républicaines. Leur riposte a permis de garder le contrôle de la situation et de faire échec à la manœuvre. Aussi, le gouvernement invite-t-il les populations à vaquer normalement à leurs occupations. Je vous remercie. Béninois, chers compatriotes, au petit matin de ce dimanche 7 décembre 2025, un groupuscule de soldats a engagé une mutinerie dans le but de déstabiliser l'État et ses institutions. Face à cette situation, les forces armées béninoises et leur hiérarchie, fidèles à leur serment, sont restées républicaines. Leur riposte a permis de garder le contrôle de la situation et de faire échec à la manœuvre. Aussi, le gouvernement invite-t-il les populations à vaquer normalement à leurs occupations. Je vous remercie. Béninois, chers compatriotes.
Sorry about that, by the way. I was trying to add what I believe is an update on this story because things are kind of like developing. And like I said, the coupists, they missed Talon before they announced their coup. Now, maybe later, people will find out what actually transpired because immediately Nigeria dispatched a fighter jet. Yeah, a fighter jet to the country's capital. I believe it's Cotonou, Abi. And the report then came that when the interior minister said, no, there was no coup, Talon is safe, and the military is currently trying to arrest the coupist. So that's now like a mixed report. How about Pascal, the supposed leader, this guy, right? And people were practically like expecting to hear from the coupists themselves to say, oh, hang on, are you really in charge? Well, they did roll out so many kind of like instructions. For example, France should stay away, Nigeria should stay away. So when Nigeria sent their own fighter jets there, I had no idea what the intention was, by the way, but it's pretty much was like they were already in touch with Talon. So if Talon is not fully safe, maybe Nigeria was going there to get him. That's Steve Numbu. Then the news said, oh, everything was fine. So they said the fighter jet has returned. Then later, it was like, no, the coup was still going on. Don't listen to all this propaganda, all this other news, the blah, the blah. So what's going on in Benin Republic? Not long after that, right? The supposed head of the coup, Pascal Tigri, announced it. It's also in French. This is to say, don't listen to anybody. We are still in charge. But now it's no longer at the TV station. It's now in a probably like a secluded place. This is Pascal.
Béninoises et Béninois, bonsoir. Je suis le colonel Tigri Pascal. Depuis ce matin, nous avons lancé une opération qui consiste à libérer le peuple béninois de la dictature de Patrice Talon et des libertés qu'il a longtemps arrachées au peuple béninois. Nous vous invitons à un soutien massif de notre action et nous appelons le gouvernement français à ne pas du tout s'initier dans les affaires intérieures de notre très cher pays, la République du Bénin. Béninoises et Béninois, bonsoir.
That's Colonel Abi Captain Abina General Pascal. This time, it is alleged that they have arrested some of his fellow coupists. So he was now in hiding. So since they didn't get along, then there's no coup. For your coup to be successful, you need to arrest the head of the government. But the moment the head of the government is able to slip away from you, it will make contact. And in this case, right, it could even get outside help. And that makes it impossible, like even more difficult. It can lead to what some people called a civil war. So the situation in Benin Republic is not completely settled. However, with the with the intervention of Nigeria military, here you get, they have been able to possibly show some strength, what they call the show of strength, right there to say, okay, if this coup is actually real, it's going to be the coupists versus Nigeria. Do you understand? But since they didn't get along just a moment ago, Talon, the president of Benin Republic, addressed this country by saying everything is fine. So therefore, the coup did not succeed.
Béninoises, Béninois, mes chers compatriotes, je m'adresse à vous ce soir parce que notre pays a vécu aujourd'hui des événements d'une gravité extrême. En effet, un groupuscule de soldats, sous prétexte de revendications fallacieuses, a entrepris une mutinerie à l'effet de s'attaquer aux institutions de la République et de déstabiliser notre nation en remettant ainsi en cause l'ordre démocratique. Une telle entreprise aurait eu pour conséquence de plonger notre pays dans une aventure sans lendemain, aux conséquences désastreuses. Elle aurait mis un coup d'arrêt au processus de développement amorcé par notre pays grâce aux efforts entrepris par toutes ses filles et tous ses fils. En pareille circonstance, le devoir républicain m'impose, en ma qualité de président de la République, chef suprême des armées et garant de la stabilité du pays, de prendre les mesures appropriées pour faire échec à l'œuvre des aventuriers désireux de nous faire retourner dans un passé de triste mémoire. J'ai donc, en coordination avec le commandement des forces de défense et de sécurité, engagé les actions nécessaires au maintien de la paix en vue de garantir la sécurité et la quiétude de tous sur toute l'étendue du territoire national. Je voudrais ici saluer le sens du devoir de notre armée et de ses responsables qui sont restés républicains et loyaux à la patrie. Avec eux, nous avons fait front, repris les positions jusqu'à nettoyer les dernières poches de résistance des mutins. Cet engagement et cette mobilisation nous ont permis de faire échec à ces aventuriers et d'éviter le pire à notre pays. Cette forfaiture ne restera pas impunie. C'est le lieu pour moi de féliciter nos forces de défense et de sécurité dans leur ensemble pour leur sens du devoir. Je voudrais, par la même occasion, avoir une pensée pour les victimes de cette aventure insensée, de même que pour les personnes encore retenues par les mutins en fuite. Je leur donne l'assurance que nous ferons front pour les retrouver sains et saufs. Mes chers compatriotes, je voudrais par la même occasion vous remercier particulièrement, vous, de l'intérieur comme de l'extérieur, pour votre soutien actif et vos nombreux messages d'encouragement durant cette journée. Ils nous ont rassurés et donné l'énergie nécessaire pour faire front au nom du Bénin, qui, nous pouvons le dire, a bien une âme. Enfin, je voudrais vous rassurer que la situation est totalement sous contrôle et vous inviter.
So the bottom line, Shai, is that, assuring the people that he's in charge and the entire setback for today, all of the coupists will not go unpunished. None of them go unpunished. So the people should go about their normal business and everything is there. Merci beaucoup. So, is that it? Is that the end of it for real? Well, we will see. Time shall tell. Do you get what I mean? I am not in support of any form of military takeover of government. Sometimes, if all of us, if our memory serves us very right, okay, if those who abused what was supposed to be the democratic tenet for their own selfishness and the rest of that, if, when I look up, right, and I look at my hair, and I'm like, I'm sorry about this, just a little bit deviation, right? So every time I look down and I look up and I see my hair, and I'm like, if my great-grandma was alive, even if my mom was alive, and she sees that on the screen, she'll be like, why did you not comb your hair? Why do you leave your hair like that? Like, I just wanted to. And you see all these lights are not helping. They make them look like so bushy when the light goes into it. Crazy, yeah? Anyway, that's just on the side. So military government is brutal, is evil. And in fact, rather than choose a military government, okay, I would advise that we should probably compartmentalize, the entire country. Let everybody go run their own preferred system of government. You get me now? So, coup is not ideal. Trust me. I don't know how young you are, and I don't know how angry you are with that contraption. Through this, their fake democracy, if people indeed decided to just at least show interest, number of you show interest with an understanding, which seems to be like impossible, right? But show interest, just a number, it will become so impossible or very difficult to do for these guys to get away with most of the things they are getting away with. Trust me. Because it is within that space that you can sit down and say, okay, we want this, we want that. Let us have a confederation. In a military system, you don't. I know, you see, those are my enablers. So, Maiyegun, your hairstyle is cool. Yeah, you are my enabler. You are going to be the type that it is the kind of friends that my mom will say, you need to be careful around him. It's a bad influence. How can somebody who was raised in a good home be growing this kind of fear in your head? I say, I'm over 40. I'm not that boy anymore. What do you mean you're over 40? Does that mean that you should be living your hair like bushy, like, If you are from an African home, you know what I'm talking about. Very well, yeah? I don't know what about mothers anyway. They prefer you to just go skin. That's what they like. That's why they will say, oh, you look so handsome. You look so natural, handsome. I know. I just did that to cool the tension in the room. Do you get what I mean about if you are a male child like me and you still have mom, then you know what I'm talking about. They don't want you to come home and have all this beard. They don't want you to come in with all this, like, what is this? Can you believe by it? What is this? Oh, comb more now. Like that means okay, you're a monster. I said, no, man, yeah, man, twist any. Kilonje twist. What okay shit that? Like you are now did that, like they will make it so much like they are not, if you have parents who are like religious, that's another kettle of fish, right? But let's go back here to the business. So I am not in support of any coup, simply because it is one barbaric gang of, criminals with guns They do not have any courtesy. They act as if to say they are not even member of the society themselves because of what we have seen in that contraption. Trust me. So it's ideal for people to sort their differences, even if we have to go physical, but not when some part will have guns, the other don't. We won't have guns, the military will have guns. Their conversation is mostly about order. And it's crazy. You don't want to experience it. I know if there's a coup in Nigeria tomorrow, the first reaction will be, hey, but when everything's settled down, then you realize that it will facilitate the breakup of Nigeria than you can imagine. I'm not exaggerating, but trust me, don't pray for coup by any reason. I mean, for any reason. Rather, call for a national conversation to peacefully go our separate ways. You may not like it. Do you get me now? There are those who still believe that a good leadership may change all of that. The good leadership and this and that. I said, good leadership will come from a good constitution that represents everybody's interest. When your interest from wherever you come from as a stakeholder in Nigeria is fully covered, that my own interest cannot override yours can't override mine, all covered, we are all agreed to live together, to stay in this place. That is when you can then put a process in place, the process of choosing those who represent us, elections, qualifications, and stuff like that, that you build standard step by step. You cannot build something on nothing. Nigeria will never have any good leadership. Don't dream it. Stop. Go back to the foundation. Read that your fake constitution and realize why from local government chairman, well, from councillor to local government chairman to status of assembly member to the governor, of course, deputy, state cabinet to federal cabinet, federal lawmakers, the president, vice president, federal cabinet. You see that composition as they go on, right? When you read your constitution, you will realize how much, oh dear, how much nonsense they have used grammar to cover up, which these criminals have discovered, and they have been able to get away with so many things that you'll be asking yourself, how are they getting away with all of this? How come there's nobody to hold them? Then you go back and realize that it is the entire structure. The foundation of the entire structure is faulty. We didn't write it. I mean, if I was not there during the Nigeria's independence negotiation, you know, I wasn't there. So I can excuse whatever they did. But I was there when they put together this charade called democracy in Nigeria that is now clearing, drug dealers, money launderers, human traffickers, treasury looters, armed robbers, organ traffickers, tax evaders, and all manner of criminals that ordinarily a working system would have exposed them and stopped them, right? Before they even get to a position of holding any sensitive position in the society. That's what the system does. If you are a drug dealer, you don't go into politics. If you are a fraudster, you don't go into politics. Because going into politics means the system is going to scrutinize you. It's going to look into everything. Now, a rotten system means when that genuine system, what do you call it? When you have a system that's supposed to probe and investigate all this and expose it and say this person is not qualified to be appointed, to be elected into anything. If he attempts it, he should be in jail. They won't near your politics. Criminals won't near your politics. You will only see some perfect criminals who are like lawyers, accountants, but they will also know the consequences if they get caught, what is at stake. Do you understand? That's what system does. With that, people that will be standing for election, for any election, they will be scrutinized, and you can then judge them based on what they have here. Because the system has cleared them that indeed they are not questionable characters. But Nigeria is a place where you see drug dealers, barons, all these people. Here you get, they are publicly fraternizing with themselves. They don't care. People will know that this one is a criminal, this one is this. But people, once they start doing philanthropy, become philanthropists, the same Nigerians will begin to sing at their praises. So my main point is that good leadership does not fall from the moon. Good leadership does not come from just wishing or praying. If you're not looking at the foundation, what the Yoruba called amokun, eruewo, ulokelenwu, ewo isale. You know who is an amokun? Well, a physically challenged person. Do you get me now? Let me describe it for you. Yoruba is so deep and it is so upright that I have told myself that if I have the capacity, the authority, like, you know, government or anything, I would actually establish what is called Yoruba religion, which actually teaches you the spirituality, the probity, the deepness of your thoughts that could help your own, you know, humanity as well. Amoku, physically challenged person, right? Coming ahead and he was like that. And then you were like, Amoku, what happened to this, your load? Why is it so bent? And it was like, you're not paying attention. You are just paying attention to the load. Can't you see to the ground that I'm actually myself, like, you know, not balanced? So, Amoku, eruewo, olokelenwo, ewo isale. You cannot build something on nothing. My view. Meanwhile, one of the prominent figures they believed could probably turn things around, and many times we have reminded you that even if he's got that mindset, if he's got that you know, vision, it's still going to end up as the same thing. You cannot make an honest man succeed in the midst of hundreds of dishonest people. How does that work? So 2 or 3 days ago, Peter Obi was in the European Union Parliament. He was invited to come and witness them debating, you know, about everything, including Africa. And then he was introduced to speak. His speech is captured here. Please watch.
Honored that you are giving a speech to us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, MEPs. Well, I don't know. First, let me most sincerely show my gratitude and thank you for opportunity of being part of your section. It was a very good listening how discussions go on. The first question people wonder is, why am I here? I'm just here to be able to start a conversation because I found out that the European Union, or most countries of Europe and the Western world, actually have little knowledge about Nigeria and Africa in general. And because of it, in their decision and their thinking, they rarely bring Africa into perspective. I said to them, it is time to rethink. Africa today is the last frontier of global development. It's the second biggest continent in terms of size in the world, the second biggest continent in terms of population. It's a continent that has the highest amount of natural resources. It's a continent that has vast uncultivated land, a continent with young population. 60% of African population today is young. But then it's a continent of mass poverty. Today, Europe, if I take Nigeria for example, Nigeria in terms of population is 50% of European Union population. You are about 450 million. We are over 240 million. So we over have 50% of your population. In terms of the land size, Nigeria, Europe is about 4-point-something million square kilometers. Nigeria is about a quarter of that. Just Nigeria. But when you come to in terms of wealth, while Europe have a per capita of over $40,000, Nigeria, which is over 50% of your population, our per capita is below about 2.5% of that of Europe. So you could see the potential, with all the resources, the potential for growth. The nearest continent to Africa, to Nigeria, is Europe. So if Africa today turns around, the biggest beneficiary will be Europe. If it collapses, the consequence will affect you more. And I believe that we have so many commonalities that we can work together and everything. And what is the problem of Africa? The problem of Africa remains leadership. To have a political leadership that is competent, that have the capacity, compassion, commitment, and character to be able to deal with the issues of corruption, law and order, focus on investing in critical areas of development, which is health, education, and pulling people out of poverty. It was discussed here that we have issue of killings, which again, people can say is genocide, people can say is Muslim versus Christians and everything. Are there killings? Are there criminality? Are there kidnapping? Yes. But we have to look at the issues that are driving this. When you have a huge population, for example, Nigeria have over 100 million people living in multidimensional poverty. You have millions of out-of-school children, or those who didn't even go to school at all. With mass poverty and mass uneducated people, you have room for easy recruitment for all forms of criminality, which is what is now driving us of killings that we need to deal with. And now we're moving around, I'm moving around and saying, we need support. We need you to help us to overcome this and be able to create a clear, developing environment that will also benefit you, because it's a huge market for you. It's a huge advantage in terms of resources and everything. If Africa, especially Nigeria, is doing well, it's the most populous country.
Honored that you are giving a speech.
Yeah, that was him toasting the European Parliament. But here is the thing. Everything that Peter Obi proposes to them there, including the data, information, and the rest that, Obi pointed out, they are not new to these guys. They colonized Africa. Have you forgotten? There is a reason why there is a rush for Africa. The main problem is that they do not respect Africa as they should, by paying their own fair share of the resources they are taking from Africa, because it is by paying that fair share, investing in the environment that is so crucial to them. Africa is so crucial to the world. Let's be sincere. Mind you, somehow, just from the days of slavery, colonialism, neocolonialism that we are now dealing with, the West have always been favored. The problem is that they've not been paying their fair share. Maybe not all of them, but in fairness, but we have examples of countries that, for example, the Burkina Faso. This is a mineral-rich country, a country that was supposed to be at par, if not better, than these oil Gulf countries, the Qataris, the Emiratis, the Saudis, the House of the Saud. Here you get. That's exactly how some of these African countries, because the population of Saudi Arabia, when you compare it, you realize that the entire population of Saudi Arabia may not even be more than 3-4 states in Nigeria combined. The population of the entire UAE is not up to that of Ogun State. Here you get, when you begin to compare them and you are like, imagine a whole country like Burkina Faso, with the population that is practically like less than 10 million or so. With their resources, they should be living like the people in Dubai. They should be princes and princesses, rich, living good, with beautiful country. Yes, France was exploiting these countries. It was that bad that France is one of the world powers. Sure you get? Yeah, I believe they are one of the world powers, right? But yet, for decades, French companies, multi-billion euro traded companies, they were making their resources or taking their resources that runs their own country and runs their own, economy. They are taking them from these countries. They didn't give a shit. They went as bad as worse as getting involved in their supposed government in the country. They've succeeded in not only assassinating head of state in Africa, these Europeans, they've succeeded in taking them out. They've succeeded in countless coups that changed government simply because the policy on mineral resources, trade, and all of that, Africa wants fair share. Rather than for them to say, okay, you know what, let's renegotiate it and give you proper share, fair share. They will change the government. They will kill some of them. They will initiate civil war. All of these are evidence. They are public. They are not things somebody is making up. They are public. So that brings it back to what Africa needs is just respect. And how do you end that respect? We've had African leaders who have attempted to actually boycott the status quo or challenge the status quo. But they just didn't last. It's always that, there will always be collaborators within your countries who are ready to do the biddings. That is, in fact, not in favor of your own people. They still sign that because they could get all their own share, paid into their private accounts in Europe. So Obi should know this, right? Among them all, the thing with Nigeria is that, the colonial powers, they were given their own fair share. For example, Shell, which is the UK company, right? And there's another one from, what is this one from America that was also involved in Nigeria, early stage, that were involved in the development of Nigeria oil sector. Yeah, they made a deal. And that deal was that as oil companies taking the crude oil from Nigeria, they will be taking about 40% of the crude oil. The remaining 60%, this particular percentage will go to Nigeria, will take 50 or 51% of the proceed. So that deal is not similar to the same deal, BP, Chevron, you see. That deal that Nigeria got from all these colonial masters or colonial countries is not the same like Burkina Faso. People said that they are, for example, right, they are taking, what is this thing that they are using in their, what is that called again? This, when they are building this, their atomic energy. And they also, the one this Elon Musk uses for is here on batteries. What is that called again? It's a very popular one like that. Please help me. Right? It's very kind of like, uranium. Thank you. I've got smart people here. Thank you. So uranium. So Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, they both have this uranium in abundance. And uranium is not just for atomic bomb, but they also use it for atomic, to generate power. Now, this power, which powered some of these their plants in France, they have been taking that from Burkina Faso. They have been taking that from Mali. They have been taking that from Niger Republic, among other resources. Now, here is the thing. From what we have gathered, though, they said if you want to buy an ounce, or let me say a kilo of uranium, this is just for context, though. Maybe that's not how it is scaled, though. Don't get me wrong, but just for your own understanding, okay? When you say, how much is a barrel of crude oil? They will say, oh, a barrel of crude oil is, for example, $100. So $100. BP, British Petroleum, will now pump maybe 100 barrels. For example, you know that 100 barrels times $100, that's 1,000, sorry, that's a $10,000, Abi. So when BP make that $10,000, BP will remove $4,000, remaining 6,000, Abi. BP will then take other money, that private taxes, this and that, all of that is coming to Nigeria. So let's say BP will now take $5,100 from that 10,000 of that 100 barrel of crude oil they sold there. They will give $5,100 to Nigeria. They will take 4,000. So what happened to the remaining balance, I'm not sure, but it's kind of like part of the cost of the exchange and all of that. Sure, you get. That's how they are dealing with Nigeria crude oil. When you look at those who are stealing Nigeria other resources, now politicians go meet there with their French, British, German, American, Chinese, partners operating in those bushes. I'm just giving you those instances, right? Now that's Nigeria, your mainstay crude oil. In Burkina Faso, let's say uranium per kilo is $2,000 per kilo. Again, for context, though, sure you get it may not be measured in kilo or ounces, so I'm just using it for context. $2,000. Okay, so France, will give, it is like a ceiling. It's not negotiable. It's been like that for years. France will pay, let's say, $2, not 2,000 though, $2. If Burkina Faso is to sell that same uranium to another country, it will be like 2,000 per kilo. But France will pay $2 per kilo. Now that $2 is not going to be given to Burkina Faso. France will say the money will be saved for them in France as their foreign reserve. So for decades, the entire Burkina Faso's foreign reserve in France, as at the time Ibrahim Traore took over, was said to be 16 billion euros. This is the country that have taken money from the same country for over 7 decades. Burkina Faso is poor, underdeveloped, but rather than give the money to the country, they were giving the money to the politicians. So the politicians were taking their turn. They get bribed, they get paid, and they keep. Anytime any politician decided that no, you need to pay us more. Don't pay us $2, pay us $20. That moment, if a sanction comes from France, they will remove that person from power. Within a year, they will remove him. If anybody comes and say, oh, we are taking over our mine ourselves, we don't want France to do it anymore, within a year, they will remove that person. Ibrahim Traore is the only person that defied them and these other guys that have lasted this long. Until tomorrow, they still want to get rid of him. So now, you see the difference. So when Burkina Faso finally have access to mine their own gold, sell their gold and the rest of that, on social media, you will see countless, number of military equipment, infrastructural development going on. These are the things that will be decided in France. And if they say, we need to construct the power supply to the capital, it's not working well, France will tell them to come to France from Burkina Faso. All these guys will travel down there. France will now process a credit for them, a loan, not from their own foreign reserve. No. France will now say, okay, you know what, we'll give you 1.5 billion euro, but we'll first give you 300 million, 400 million, and this is coming from your foreign reserve. They will now add interest to it. This is true story. It may sound so, Misha, I'll break something down so much that it will start sounding like, is this even real? Like you will understand it so much enough that you'll be like, hang on, if I get what you are saying, is this even possible? I say, well, it's possible. It happened. This is no longer a question of is that even possible? No. It happened. It is a true story. Nigeria said they have $40-something billion in foreign reserve right now, Abi. If Nigeria decided tomorrow that they want to take 20 billion from that money, it will affect some things. So Nigeria can take the money, I believe. But in the case of all these Sahel country under France, nah. Belgium still there. There's another part where Belgium, when you start going to Congo and all that, yeah? So that's why I said, if any politician from Nigeria doesn't know that Europe knows this Africa very well, here you get, and they are always scrambling for the resources, and not all of them have the plan to pay their fair share. So that then comes to the advantage that a country like Nigeria currently have. And that advantage is that somehow it's got its own little fair share than other countries. But yeah, the problem of the criminals in power, the ones that are ready to bend, the nails end over heel, just to get these dollars or euros and sell the country off, like you are currently witnessing, where Shaguri is the confidant or something to Koolu. And you know what that means? So Obi, who people believe that is that the experience at the state level. All these things are not new to him. Yes, you may say the national politics is different, but he is not a novice. He's had similar challenges. And he seems to have done well. Right? But yeah, was same with the Catholic or so, the church in Oka, I believe, just about 2 nights ago as well. After that European day. So this time, it is just one of the, what do you call them? The Reverend Fathers, sort of like reminiscing on the time when Peter Obi's intervention saved not just the schools, but even the children in Anambra then. Let me add it, because it's part of it.
All the houses had leaking roofs. But by the grace of God, at God's own time, he sent this our brother, Mr. Peter Gregory Obi, to be the governor of Anambra State. We cried to him and told him the society is being destroyed. We were producing anybody and anything except what we should produce. I cannot use this my mouth with which I consecrate our Lord to say what we were producing. But they know it was regrettable. But when the schools were given back to us, I promised him. They took 40 years to destroy the schools. Give us back our schools. I give you 3 years. By the grace of God, we shall turn things around. And you will see a new Anambra State. By the grace of God, after giving us back the schools, after 1 year, Anambra moved from 30th, 31st, 36th position to the first position after 1 year. And for 10 consecutive years, we are either first or second. Then trophies, merit awards.
what do you call it? A lot of commentators are saying, while the likes of Amechi, El-Rufai, Atiku, and others are mobilizing for ADC, what is Obi doing? Instead of him to be mobilizing the people in Eastern Nigeria, but the obedience are like, nah, it is Obi. If you give him your ticket, just don't worry about the rest. While others are saying, no, Obi should work for it and even like join them to run for their primaries. So that conversation is ongoing, by the way, right? And it is on the side. Right. Talking about those of them who are already like mobilizing for ADC. Here it was Malamu in Kebbi. You know, Malamu wants to be governor of Kebbi State in 2027 under ADC. But if you didn't know, now you do.
Amma muna gari tsawon kwanuka saboda haka za mu keɓe lokuta mu gana da ku ganawa ta godiya, ganawa ta duku tare, ganawa ta tsira tare, ganawa irin tun babu gudu jama'a kowa ya je gida ya huta, za a sanar da ku lokacin da za mu fara ganawa da jama'a, ganawa ta tarayya, ganawa ta soyayya, ganawa ta babu gudu.
Anyway, that was him. He is currently being fingered in the supposed terror financiers investigation. He is also being fingered. Well, he is currently on bail from the EFCC for relooting Abacha loot. And he's going to use some of the money to run for governor in 2027 under ADC. So he's Canary Dino. Canary Dino too was in Kogi. At least everybody, like I said, everybody's going back to go and start mobilization so that from next year, they will start the race for their 2027, so to say. It's always the similar faces, the same rhetoric and all that. Canary Dino.
There is one small boy. They say his name is Maiyegun. And he said, if you want to but what I want to tell you is that Nigerian can never become a lawyer. He cannot even pass law school. It's not possible. It's not possible. So, you call me a remote lawyer. As a lawyer, I was a panelist at the International Bar Conference in Koolu. As a lawyer, I was a panelist and a key advice. Advice number one is that he should stop preaching. He should stop preaching. He is not committing. It's not like committing. We in Oakland, we are not going to be preaching. We are not going to be preaching. And the advice why I'm asking you not to preach is because anybody who preach becomes highly inflammable to fire. We don't want it to get roasted. So please, it should stop preaching. The second advice is that he should engage in his teacher. Out of everybody that has gone to House of Reps in Oakland, is it not the same House of Reps that a lawyer of over 40 years represented in the people, so now we go is here? Is it not the same House of Reps that you always went to?
Just get ready, okay? For those of you who are getting ready for their politics, these are the characters that are going to be adorning your screens very soon. And it's never going to be the conversation about, anything logical. It's going to be character assassinations all through. You understand? So that in itself kind of like poses the danger of from running from frying pan to fire, I've been from fire to firewood, to furnace. I don't know. So it makes the option so limited. And with a rigged system, right? You stand no chance, even if you have an alternative approach to what a leadership should be. You will stand no chance, unfortunately. You know? And as for Wike, well, he's not really giving up. I told you that before, right? Right. His latest jibe at Sheyi Makinde, the solo Makinde Ibadan, is also covered in this clip. Do you want to see it before you go to bed? I know it's almost the last part. Anyway, like the broadcast though, if you are already like, I'm going to go to bed, right? But watch this if you can.
Sheyi Makinde, my younger brother, he was an SDP. I know when he came to Mobile, I know those who brought it to me, a bully cat, and the former deputy governor, who is here, and one I'm a lawyer, that I can write. So LCP, he didn't make it before we arrived. How can those who met me in my heart do not let me out? I'll give up. It doesn't make sense. From the first time that the leaders of the country sat down to conceive the idea of PDP, I was there. They were not there. I ran as chairman of council from 1999 to 1998. December. I ran on that PDP and I won. I ran the second time and I won. I ran for governorship and I won. On that PDP. As Mohammed, we party the hero and the sinner. Because our party has always thought that people come, they become governor, they become this, they not dictate what will to pursue those who have made sacrifice from the beginning, from the inception of the formation of this party. If people had allowed them before, we will not allow them. Of course, I can tell you, they have no choice. Not their way out of the party. They know they have no choice again. They are their way out of the party. So they make fun remain strong. Money is not everything. Money is good, but money has its own limitation. That's why money cannot go. It's only human beings that must reach. So that nobody be panicking himself, because the president is wisdom that allows states to make progress, to bring development to the various states. Yes, states are having a lot of problems. So I want people to use the money to help us. They want to use it to kill the Nazi. We will not allow them to kill the tenure, like the chairman said, and the judge chairman said.
That's a very wicked. And the meeting was kind of like addressing his own faction of PDP, all right? Which means that, like I said the last time, it is not over. That Turaki announced with the weakest expulsion from PDP, but that was him there in his own position as former governor and a senior member of the PDP. It's going to be a long fight. So thank you so much for your time, everyone. And indeed, remember to like the broadcast if you haven't already. I will see you another time. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And you should all have a wonderful week. Good night.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Maiyegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Bó bá ṣe é àní Maiyegun máa wí.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Maiyegun dayari Politico.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Prẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin ti ń rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun
ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o àyè.
Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà ìtú wọn síta.
Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ̀ bù.